Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the Best Start Guide. Today, I plan on six-starring Xeno. Today's the day. It's gonna happen. I swear it's gonna happen. Because a variety of things are aligning at this point. There's a champion training event going on, first of all. And the champion training event is always a good chance to get a little bit of extra stuff. As I've stated in past episodes, beyond going after Xeno, I think I'm done with events. It takes away too much. Hey, look at that. We got 10 arena defense. So we won 50 medals. We've won the classic defense. So we've actually done really well in gold arena as well. That's very cool. Thank you, game. Appreciate it. I'm in the Discord. Hey, that's right. I saw you in the Discord. Welcome to the clan. Yeah. So, let's move this stuff along quickly, if we can. Does anybody else get a lag whenever you go to the to the I don't know why it does this. Just it's like no, it's too hard for us to figure out how to advance this champion by one level. We have to load like new graphics. The champion looks different. There's there's something. Like what's up with that, Blarium? What is going on with the sparring pit? Why do we have to click through on each level? It it seems to me like you're deliberately wasting our time. Of course, to be fair, I guess if you're playing this game, you want your time wasted. I suppose you could argue that any video game is you wasting your time in some way that you choose to waste your time. To be fair, so if we go to the tavern, we can see the food for Xeno. So at this point, I've set aside 4 champions that are all 5-starred. I'm actually going to show you guys a trick that I use sometimes with events. This is not something I plan to do too much with this account for the simple reason that we don't really care about events. But this would be a lot of points in this specific case. So if I can load this event page at some point this century, we'll look at the points. The points should be very low because I think I just ran campaign a couple of times with some low-level champions, and that's about it. No, I've got... Oh, this is Dungeon Divers. I'm sorry, I clicked on the wrong thing. This has been open for over a day now. It is... Oh, maybe it's a tournament. Is it a champion training tournament that starts today? I think that's what it is. There it is. So with the champion training tournament, and the tournament's even better because if we use books, it'll count towards the tournament. But I think I'm going to hold off on the books because those are also worth a lot during the clan versus clan. So we can get a couple extra points during clan versus clan, which also comes with an associated number of rewards. So these are the rewards, and these look quite different than usual. That's interesting. So anyway, we got 21 points here. A fairly good way of making a lot of points in a way that seems kind of silly is to take your 5-star unit food, particularly with 5 stars, because they get 6 points every time they gain a level, and you just run a little bit of extra campaign with them. I'm going to run these 3, 2 more fights, and they will be max level. I think we're going to be really, really close to having our 5th star, our 5th 5-star. We'll take all of them. We'll put them into Xeno finally. How long has it been that I'm talking about 6-starring Xeno? Has it been a week? It takes a very long time. Plarium, if you're watching, please give new players more chickens. Even just 5, so that they can get their first 5-star easily enough. Because even with that, hey, look at that. Look at that. We finally got another Diabolist. That gets us one step closer to being even faster in the arena. I think we still need one more pair of demon champions. I know I have in the notes that I've got the best campaign farm rares video coming up. I keep meaning to do that in some episode in this series, but there's always stuff to do. But I do it'll probably just be a one-off something else. Just something separate. Anyway, here we go. We're going to level some champions. And then we're going to level some champions. So, and this is another thing. A lot of content creators have, maybe I'll keep her. A lot of content creators have mentioned there are other games that do kind of a better job of automating this mode, the tavern. It seems that the tavern is just kind of very slow and grindy. So we've got 2 force. Now we have 3 force. And we just need a 4th 4. We could use jailer. Maybe I'm okay with getting rid of jailer. I don't know. I could also, you know what? You know what? It's fine. I'm going to do it this way. We'll take a redeemer. We will max out the bruise upgrade. We will upgrade her rank using 2 of these extras. We will then give her bruise again, max her out completely, upgrade her rank with, and I just need 3 that I could sacrifice. I don't want to give up any rares that I plan on using. So we're actually going to take maybe another one. Like say I want a blue this time. So we'll take a magic champion. We'll max her out. We will feed her 2 more champions. And we will get the redeemer back. We will redeem her with this. And here we go. We got the final 5 that we need. Right? We'll use this sniper. All right, so we got the 5 stars. So here is something that I just recommend if you're trying to get some extra points in the champion training tournament. I'll just include the 5s. I don't know why I had to do that. They should be immediate anyway. And that's right. I wanted to load them into my my preset just because it's a little bit faster. Basically because I don't want Kale blowing his big AoE on wave 2 on the last guy, and that frequently happens. So this way, he uses his AoE, levels wave 1, then he uses his Quadra Shot. And now there aren't that many champions left. He can usually just A1 the 2 of them. And then use the AoE on this wave. So, this is 72 points right here for just one fight, just gaining all of those levels. I'll usually go. Sometimes I'll take them all the way to level 17. But I think we get 72 points for the first 2 fights. Then after that, I think it might drop to 36 points per fight. I mean, it has to do with the number of levels that they gain. But this way, we gain the most points for this. Because the threshold is 800 points before the first reward, I don't even know if we're going to be building towards that. We probably are. We'll probably make that first point, and that'll give us one pull. So we got to level 8. What do 3 fights get us? 3 fights get us to level 11. That might be the last really efficient one. If it gets us to level 11 and gets us 3 more points, we'll stop. If it gets us 2 more points, I guess we'll also stop. Because again, the point isn't really to gain that much. You can also use Bruise in the tavern. I'm just really lacking in Bruise on this account. Which is kind of funny, because whenever you get Bruise dropping from dungeons, you're often kind of disappointed because you wanted the treasure. But if it goes the other way, then you don't get a lot of Bruise. Anyway, let's head back to the Bastion. I don't even want to run campaign again. What I want to do is I want to take this one, because this is the other thing that I will often do, is I'll just take 8 of them on 5s. It's a lot of Bruise for this account, but you know what? I'm okay with it. 162 points instantly. And where's the other one? It flipped it. Or I flipped it. I guess I did this. And again, 8 into the 5s. 162 points. Just easy points. But here's what we've been waiting for so long. It's been so long. And finally, we have Blademaster. She's up. She's leveled up. We can't even afford the ascension point on her right now. Yuck. Although that could probably wait for CVC. I could also farm for that. Here's maybe a deciding factor. Come to think of it. Do I even have a good banner for her at the moment? And the answer is that's defense with speed on it. A little bit of speed would be good. Attack would be good. What I would love to see is an accuracy banner, which we don't have. Oh man, I also got one of these. I could add a little bit of crit rate to her. Comes at the expense of some attack though. And this does have counterattack on it. So this is a tough call. What do you guys think of the new Rathalos set? I think it looks really OP, but there's an obvious downside. And the obvious downside is you're getting only a couple of pieces, and whenever you get an accessory, that accessory is faction specific, and I think that sucks. Plarium, I think you should not have done that with accessories at all. Or maybe faction exclusive accessories from the Spider Dungeon, but basically any of the ones that come with extra effects, these should be open to all, rather than limited to a specific faction. It just makes it so much harder to build champions, and there's really no reason for it, is there? Other than to make us farm more, so that people shell out more bucks. It's very clever, Plarium, but I still don't think it's a good idea. Anyway, you know, Plarium, I know I rag on you a lot. So when we make a champion like this, I'll also sometimes dump a couple of brews into them. Just cause, like if we put 10 brews into her, I think she gets all the way to level 30. And that's going to be a big boost to her stats. It's 232 points as well. But this gets her to about where her stats were before we downgraded her to level 1 again. But she now has the potential to grow all the way to level 60. And she can have a banner if I so choose. And this is the other thing I really, really want. So we could finally cross this off the list. Finally. We 6-starred Blademaster, but we still need the masteries from Minotaur. So that's the next thing on the list, although I want to take a little bit of a detour because it is time to do some arena, and we do want to make sure we get the clan boss done. So for Minotaur, for arena, I'm sorry, I'm still waking up. For arena, I like to look for the easy fights, but if I can't find some easy fights, we'll do some hard fights. It doesn't matter. If we get too high in the rankings, never be afraid if you get too high in the rankings, never be afraid to just get your butt kicked by by champions that are too difficult for you to beat. You'll end up lowering your rank, and then you'll be able to beat stuff. And we could also set our defense to total garbage. Actually, at this point, maybe we even want to set the defense to total garbage. Because I think maybe, oh, it looks like I maybe swapped out some gear on Haikatoon. But let's take a look at the quests. Not the quests, the missions. So the missions, we can't get anywhere until we do Void. That's tomorrow. But after that, there may be some arena missions. No, there's win 100 silver or gold medals. So you know what? This is going to be made harder by us being in gold. And because we've finished all the challenges, upgrade a force champion to ranks. No, that's the wrong section. Stay in gold tier for 2 ranking periods. That would be nice. We'll get there eventually. Upgrade 3 affinity bonuses to 5. So we don't even need to be in gold for this one. This is just going to take a long ass time. This one, when we're ready, but if it's going to get in the way of the missions, like this will take a while. But if being too high of a rank is going to get in the way of the missions, I say we just take our defense. So this is the defense we were using, and I was happy with this. This got us the wins that we want. So thank you, Sun Wukong. Thank you, War Maiden. Thank you, Diabolist, and thank you, Kale, for your service. Now, you guys can take some R&R, and I'm going to put in my OP defense of... Who could we put in that we don't really need? Let's put in Renegade, since we know we're keeping Renegade. So that'll be our defense. Our 3-star Renegade. Come and get me, people. So we're still in gold 1. This doesn't help us in the immediate, but we can try a couple more fights. Here's a team led by Kaimar, who's got an immense speed aura. They're probably going to outspeed us and completely nuke us. That's fine. We got arena fights to get through. We got to do at least 5 because the daily mission. How am I faster than this team? Oh, and you know what? This isn't even the Kale team. This is the all defense team, the all barbarian all defense team that I built. Just as a qualifier for various missions, but that is not the team I meant to build. So that's funny. Hang on, I want to try that team again. So that was Barb's wired, but what I want is my main. These guys. Let's see how they do. Since I know I can outspeed them. I mean, if my half-dressed Haikatoon could do it, this team could definitely do it. We'll take out Thylesia first, because I suspect that's the nuker. If you can. Alright, well, she's been sheeped. That buys us a bit of time. Man, Kale, why did you not have one hit the not block damage champion? I don't understand the decisions the AI makes sometimes. Anyway, we're obviously outclassed by this team. Okay. Is there anyone? Maybe we could try this team. But I mean, I'm looking at the disparity in power. And this team is 185k. We're 76k. We obviously do not belong here yet. Okay, we're probably gonna lose this one. Just, it's fine. It's fine. We're gonna wait for our rank to drop, and we're gonna go and fight the Demon Lord. 'Cause we're gonna wait for our rank to drop, and we're gonna go and fight the Demon Lord. 'Cause we're gonna wait for our rank to drop, and we're gonna go and fight the Demon Lord. 'Cause we're gonna wait for our rank to drop, and we're gonna go and fight the Demon Lord. 'Cause we're gonna wait for our rank to drop, and we're gonna go and fight the Demon Lord. 'Cause we're gonna wait for our rank to drop, and we're gonna go and fight the Demon Lord. 'Cause we're gonna wait for our rank to drop, and we're gonna go and fight the Demon Lord. 'Cause we're gonna wait for our rank to drop, and we're gonna go and fight the Demon Lord. 'Cause we're gonna wait for our rank to drop, and we're gonna go and fight the Demon Lord. 'Cause we're gonna wait for our rank to drop, and we're gonna go and fight the Demon Lord. 'Cause we're gonna wait for our rank to drop, and we're gonna go and fight the Demon Although it would be nice if I had the masteries that I wanted. Alas, I don't. So it's still going to be a little while. But basically, quickly as I can, I'm going to bring Methodical and maybe also Kill Streak. But that's not necessarily going to be necessary for a clan boss. But we'll get Methodical. We'll get Helm Smasher. That means we need to get another 550 red scrolls whenever we even finish collecting the green ones, which is, what, probably another, I think we need 200 total. So we're about 650 scrolls away from that. So that's not happening today. So let's just go ahead and fight the clan boss and see how we do. So the other day, I went and hit Brutal. Brutal is a 2 key. How long do we have? 26 minutes? Okay. The Brutal is probably still a 2 key, so I'm going to go ahead and hit Brutal. It is a free gear swapping day today. They seem to do this every time there's a Cintranos reset. So that's good to know. It means if you're planning on swapping gear, you can always look at Cintranos and look at when the reset's coming. Although I don't actually know if we have access to seeing when the Cintranos reset is on this account, because we're not there yet. I think you need to be level 52 to unlock Cintranos. Cintranos is, if you're a newer player, if you really are newer and this isn't just a replay through for you, Cintranos is kind of the new end game of the game. It's even worse than Faction Wars, and that you basically have to master every faction before you can really reliably get anywhere in there, because they're constantly shuffling around which factions you can use. It's basically like the secret rooms of Doom Tower, which are also kind of unfair, but at least they're secret rooms. Like, I feel like it makes sense for secret rooms. Plarium, I know I ask you guys for so much, but man, the limitations on Cintranos, like the boss, Amius, the Lunar Archon, he's hard enough. Do you have to make it so that most of us don't have access to our best champions? Was that necessary? Because that seems like you're artificially making that even harder than it needed to be. Like, Amius is hard enough. He's so hard. Most people, if they could pick all of their best champions, would still lose to Amius the Lunar Archon. He doesn't need to be that hard. I think Amius lifts the restrictions on Amius the Lunar Archon. That's it. The other areas, fine. They can be like secret rooms. Amius the Lunar Archon, I mean, you could go the other way and say, okay, instead of champion restrictions, we're going to put a minimum requirement of blessings to fight Amius the Lunar Archon, and I would be fine with that, because chances are really good sooner or later people are going to get blessings on their best champions. Because you want to reward people for planning. You want to reward people for focusing on their best champions. That's the way RPGs are supposed to work. Something tells me you guys know that. So, we're 3 million in. We're getting close to turn 10. So I'm hoping we can score somewhere in the neighborhood of 6 million. I think the minimum to qualify for the lowest chest is somewhere above 5 million. Yesterday, we fell short of that, but that's okay, because I'm okay with 2-keying this area to get the better chest. It just occurs to me, I sped through that chest and did not pay attention to the rewards. I am sorry about that. I don't know where my mind is today. Because we're always looking for that void shard, right? We're always looking for that void shard, we're always looking for those epic books. those Lego books. When I review the footage, I'm going to pay attention. I promise. I'm going to pay attention during the footage and I'm like, okay, that's what we got. But right now, no idea. I was like, you ever been at a party and you meet a new person and they tell you your name and you're in party mode. You're like, I want to make a nice joke that makes people laugh. I want to have a good time. I want other people to have a good time. I don't want to say anything embarrassing. I don't want to embarrass myself. I don't want to embarrass the other person. And while all these thoughts are just kind of shaking your head around, you realize you weren't listening when they told you your name. And maybe it's a really hot girl or a really hot guy, and you're into them. And now you're like, oh crap. What was their name? And then you chat with them for an hour. You still don't get their name, but you've actually got them to agree to go on a date with you. And now you're still scrambling to remember what their name is. And you're like, I'm pretty sure it was a D name. Or an S name. Was it Delilah? Was it Sarah? Was it Zenobia? Anyway, I don't know where I'm going with this. We have the one key here for the minimum chest. Maybe we're lasting a little bit longer because Xeno is 6-starred now, but I don't really think that would be the case. Her gear hasn't changed. Her stats are probably very similar to where they were. So I think this is just RNG. I like how it froze there on all those 50,000s, though. Just really showing the power of Kale's poisons. Wow, Xeno really did not score as well as Kale this time. Sometimes their scores are almost the same. I wonder why that's different. I think she spent a lot more of that fight dead. That's probably what it was. Anyway, let's look at the dailies. We still have to summon some champions. We still have to do some artifact upgrades. So, wow. We used a lot of food. Let's summon some more champions. Hey, maybe we'll even get lucky and find another one of those cool rares. I'm cool with just pulling everything. Let's just pull everything. Come on, give us a blue. Lady Luck, we need a blue. Otherwise, we will feel blue. No blue. Denied. Fine. Tomorrow, come to think of it, it is the weekend. Usually, there's some kind of a 2x. Maybe they don't run them every weekend. Because I think this event runs through the weekend, come to think of it, this progressive chance. It sure looks like it. So it's going to run through the whole weekend, and it doesn't look like there's going to be a 2x. What's the 15x? So we got Nergigante Archer, if I'm getting that name right. She's a really good one, but the chances of getting her are, of course, at a times 15. That's so deceptive. At a times 15, that is... well, normally you have a 0.5% chance, right? If we look at just our odds. If we were to run our Ancient Shards, Legendary, 0.5%. So that's a 0.5% chance to get one particular champion you might be looking for. That's not the right section. We go to Index, we go to Bannerlords. 0.5% chance to go after a single champion. And how many champions are there normally? That's 9, 18 non-voids. Actually, he can't come from a shard. So this is actually 17 that can drop from shards, I think. Come to think of it, Rhonda might have been a limited edition run, so that might be 16. Anyway, you can go from section to section and look for how many, but let's say it's just let's say it's 15 per section. So 15 times 15 is what? Is that 225? Am I remembering my multiplication tables? Hopefully I'm not embarrassing myself here. 15 squared is, yeah, 225. So you have a 0.5% chance And then of that 0.5%, you now still only have a 1 in 200 chance of getting the champion that you want. And then when you get a 15x, well, it's 15 times that. So I guess it would become 1 in 15. Yeah. So you have a 1 in 200 times 1 in 15 chance. That makes it easy. 1 divided by 15. Yeah. All right. We'll do it this way. 1 divided by 15 equals times 0.05 is um, it's it's a 0.3% chance. Even that seems a little high. I think it might be a 0.03% chance of getting the champion you want. It's very low anyway. It's just an extremely low chance of getting the target champion. So low that if you have something like 23 shards, you're not going to get it. If you have 300 shards, you're probably still not going to get it. That's how bad it is. Generally speaking, I mean, this is just bullshit. If you're talking about getting a legendary, for the epics, maybe. For sacred shards, for legendaries, maybe. For void shards, again, forget it. What is available for void shards anyway? These guys all look like B-listers. B-listers, C-listers. This guy's actually really interesting. I like the way he's animated. We go to the index for a second. I'm taking a complete detour from the game here. I noticed his animation the other day, and it's like he's got this sad little like birth defecty brother here. He's kind of drooling. You know, this guy looks kind of like he's got a chip on his shoulder, waiting for somebody to talk shit about his little brother. He's feeding his little brother. I think that's kind of adorable. It's kind of sad, but kind of adorable, you know? Plarium, like 10 out of 10 champion design. Like no notes. This is a really really nice design for champion. His actual kit, I have no idea. Because this is often where champions fall short. People look at these new champions and they're like, I don't know where I'd use him. Then that kind of sucks because like, man, I love the champion design. This is maybe top five out of any of the champions you've ever designed. He's in the top five. Uh, who else is in the top five for champion design? I'd say I'd say War Maiden for some reason. I don't know. I probably still have the brain of a teenage boy. That's probably why. Anyway, um, so we need to get the masteries. Did I check in yet? This is always a good thing to do. We check in, we get the chest. It's energy. Does that put us over? If we can ever get out of this screen? Yes, it does. Of course it does. That's actually okay. We can run masteries. Is there anything else important that we need to do? Well, this is why I have my notes here. Um, yeah, here's one thing that I will say about this account, the Mini Gavin account, as compared to my main account. I show this account less respect than I do my main account. Normally on my main account. So if you're running your main account and you're watching along with the show and you're using this as a template for your main account, I just about always make sure to check in with the events so that I'm on top of everything. Make sure to check in with the tournaments so that I'm on top of everything. With a newer account, it becomes less important because you're probably not going for fusions. Like this stuff can be left in here because whenever this thing expires, this will go to the inbox and we'll be able to use it when we need it. Although I probably just want to use it now. The Mortal Soul Stone is good. Let's use that now. The Bruise, obviously useful. The multi-battles, again, when I run out of multi-battles, I can come back here and get them. And it looks like we're probably finishing this event with 200. But I kind of screwed up. We had the temporary, maybe it's already gone. We had a temporary warm-up event, and I just I fell shy of it. I was supposed to finish it so that I could get our 300, so we'd at least get this extra epic skill tome, this extra ancient shard. We'd have got a 5-star resistance glyph. That would have been cool on someone. But I don't know. The long and the short of it is I whiffed it. I didn't get it. But it's good to just check in every day with the tournaments and events and just see what's expiring that day, what's maybe coming on the next day as well, to determine whether you're going to do stuff. So I noticed yesterday that today was going to be the champion training tournament or event. I couldn't remember, but I knew it was going to be one or the other. So that's why I decided it would be good to boot it to the point where I could build Xeno to 6. Not only that, but I also looked ahead on the missions. And we have coming up in the missions somewhere, we have to have 3 champions with fully decked out with level 16 artifacts. And then further along, we have to have 4 champions decked out with level 16 artifacts. Maybe I'll notice it quickly, but basically these are one of the things that it pays to go ahead. Equip 4 champions with 6 level 16 artifacts. And that's where it stops. So we know we need to do this. So this is a thing that I'm passively going to work on. I'm going to choose 4 champions and make sure they have maxed out gear. And aside from that, we're going to work towards, I think before we even build our next 6, I'm just going to make sure we have all the food to fuse Relic Keeper. So we already have the champions. Basically, we just need to get him to 4-star, him to 4-star, her to 4-star, and him to 4-star. But we have all 4 of these champions now, so we could easily do this. I could probably even do him with Bruce. Actually, it looks like I did do him with Bruce. Come to think of it, I remember doing that in yesterday's video. Yeah, I said, you know what? Let's get him straight to level 30. Because right now, Void Brews are not really worth much. It's interesting. I mean, Voids are more rare, but we end up with an abundance of Void Rare brews. So whenever possible, I try to keep Void food around. I'm squeamish about getting rid of a Void champion because we get so few of them at this stage in the game. So Bloat Wraith, for example, I don't love this guy. I mean, if we look at his kit, he's got attacks all enemies. It's got the crappy version of decreased defense. He's got a small chance at fear, which is really not a particularly good crowd control mechanic when you consider, okay, he's got a 25% chance of it. I mean, if we book him, which we're not gonna, if we booked him, we could get it up to 40%, but fear is already just a 50% chance of kicking in. So a 25% chance of a 50% chance of them losing a turn, that's kind of like a 12.5% chance. That sucks. That might as well not even be there. And a 15% chance at a stun, that's pretty cool. But nothing brings it up. The number of debuffs, I mean, they're not going to have that many debuffs on them. So the extra 5%, I mean, if you can completely drench them in debuffs, then maybe. Maybe this guy could be kind of good. And then it heals 15% of their max HP every time an ally is killed. That can actually be a little bit strong. I guess if you're using him to solo farm, but I don't really see myself doing that. I don't know. His area of effect attack can be reduced to a 3-turn cooldown. I'd need to look up his modifiers, but it's even possible that Drowned Bloat Wraith could be good. I have no idea. So this is one of those funny things, and this is why I say, like, I don't know about turning any of my Void champions into food. Even if they're Void champions nobody uses, sometimes you look at them, and sometimes you're like, that looks like it could actually be really good. I could get behind this one. So let's check the Altar of Souls. We got the little glowing thing. We got a reset. Are we going to get a Kale Soul today? Or anything? Nope. What about the epics? We don't have any of those. I mean, I wish we had an Allure. Allure is maybe one of my favorite epics in the game. Maybe one of the absolute best epics in the game for Fire Knight. Possibly the best epic in the game for Fire Knight, honestly. At least up until Hard Fire Knight, at which point it might become this guy. So it's kind of cool that we got this guy early. It means we can push toward Hard Fire Knight and maybe have a chance to win some mythical gear from Hard Fire Knight. It could be possible. That's on the list of things I would love to be able to do. But to even get to that point, we might need a champion like Allure to help us get there. The closest thing we have is Armiger, which is actually pretty sad. And I took his gloves and I gave them to somebody. There's probably a good reason for that. I forget what you know what? I know who took them. It was Zeno. I remember doing that, and it was totally worth it because her clan boss damage is better. And of course, the changes to the blessings means she gets a huge helping of HP. That also helps her stay alive. That's probably why the clan boss damage started to get better. It's the influx of HP. So let's see. Do we have any? We have 6 minutes to the next clan boss key. We can go back to the classic arena. I think by now we probably have a bit of a reset. Hey, look, some easy fights. As much as I want to drop out of gold completely, I also want to just grab as many gold medals as we can. They're worth more. So we may as well. And this is a bunch of like-minded people, evidently. Just putting complete garbage in there. Actually, that Kale looked like he wasn't complete garbage. It looks like one of those single-man defenses that might be a trap for early, unsuspecting players that think, oh, that Kale's by himself. Yeah, but watch out. Watch out. He's level 60. He's got a blessing on him, too. What blessing is that? I took Phantom Touch, but that looks like a different one. They updated the blessings recently. So it occurs to me, I think I need to take a new crash course on blessings. Because I took Phantom Touch, because I like the extra damage that you get out of it. It's an extra hit against the Fire Knight, so Kale can actually come in and do, potentially, 5 hits to the Fire Knight. But the Indomitable Spirit, I guess that's what it was. 5% chance of blocking debuffs? That seems like kind of a strange choice for a blessing on a champion. And then there's Emergency Heal. I would swear this wasn't here before, but now I'm hard-pressed to remember what blessing this was before they changed it to Emergency Heal. Does anyone remember? Because at this point, it's gone. And I'm looking at this, and I swear this wasn't here before, because now I absolutely would use this blessing on a lot of champions. For the most part, I approve of the changes to the blessings. I still wish they had nerfed Polymorph harder than they did. I guess we'll see if Polymorph is still a problem. But anyway, that it's not a problem for us at this juncture. I don't think we're ever going to encounter any Polymorph in the arena. Because just about anybody that thinks to put Polymorph on their defense teams are probably just going to shoot straight up the arena defenses. And we won't see them if we're in Gold 1 and below. So quests, we have the accessory attempt. Oh man, what is going on today? So we do have the gear requirements, the long term we're looking for. So Zeno has all level 16s. I'm going to keep this stuff on her because I'm pretty happy with it. At some point, we will get something closer to 200% crit damage, but a lot of her damage is probably going to come from the other things anyway. It's probably going to come from the fact that she has this bottom mastery, Giant Slayer, and the rest of the damage is going to come from the fact that she has the 2-star blessing of Brimstone. She's got at least 3 hits, so that changes this from a 15% to about a 40-something, or maybe it's a 37. I think it's 37% on 3 hits, and on 4 hits, it jumps to something more like 48%. So Brimstone is just about always going to be on the clan boss and any other boss that we use her against. So she's going to be our boss specialist. That is the point of her. Now that we have a boss specialist, and really she can specialize on all bosses. I don't think there's any boss that she's not going to be useful for because a lot of her damage is passive damage. So up against the likes of even the Ice Golem, you don't have to worry about her doing too much damage too quickly to the Ice Golem because when she's doing that damage, she's placing Brimstone. She is, well, actually, yeah, the extra procs do count as straight up damage. So never mind. She might do too much damage too quickly to the Ice Golem, but it's still going to help. We'll find a way to push that forward. So we've got the artifact upgrades. I apologize for all the dancing around. I might even make Shield Guard one of the ones that gets the best gear because I looked at his stuff. I actually did a big upgrade to his gear yesterday because I found I'd been running him at closer to 100 speed, and I finally found some gear that allowed me to run at over 150. So this is going to be much better in trying to campaign farm, in trying to Minotaur farm. Even though he's not on the Minotaur team anymore, I could probably swap him back in and see how he does. He's still got lifesteal. He gets a little bit of extra damage out of this. The chest piece is really a big part of the damage. We want the big defense because that does double duty. When you have the defense, you're getting extra. I don't know why this is giving me so much trouble today. Although his defense is still kind of crappy. Because the thing is, I've still got him in crit rate gauntlets. So what I'd love to do is get enough pieces that have crit rate on the substats so that instead I could take defense percent gauntlets as well. I mean, even if we could get enough speed, we could take defense percent speed boot or defense percent boots. But as long as his speed is above maybe 150, then he'd have the big damage and the big defense. He'd probably be able to solo just about everything, and we could use him as a solo champion at that point. Because Kale can kind of struggle, depending on the affinity. He's perfect for spirit affinity, but basically outside of that, he starts to struggle at staying alive because he's still kind of squishy. Like his defense, I mean, he's a 6-star, so his defense is slightly better, but only ever so slightly. Also, his speed is worse than he used to be. We were running him at like 180, but I did find a way to crank up his damage. So the gear shuffles around, but basically we got all 16s on Kale. We got all 16s on Zeno. I'm going to try for all 16s on Shield Guard next. I guess that's these three. But basically everybody else has even worse gear, I think. That it'll take me a while to roll this stuff up. I'd like to max out his gear too. So it might be these two. These might be the two that get the 16-star treatment. Either Tagore or Jamarsa. We got to take our pick. But Jamarsa, I tend to give the worst gear to Jamarsa right now. I'm basically treating Tagore as the primary reviver and Jamarsa as the auxiliary with her passive. I mean, I like the way her passive works, but basically I like the way his passive works too, because it helps keep everybody alive. Anyway, I've gone on for quite a while. I still haven't done the single upgrade that I meant to do. What are we gonna upgrade? How much silver do we have? And for the sake of defense, I mean, we could try to take this one up. It'd be a little bit of extra defense. I really like this, man. We're so low on silver. I basically want to just look for a piece of gear that might have maybe a speed. Actually, here's how I usually make the decision. This is the way. We'll go to the passes. And in the daily challenges, sometimes you have an upgrade gear. So we have upgrade boots to level 8. Okay, we'll do that. So we'll take a pair of boots that aren't currently level 8. And in fact, I don't worry about the substats. I like speed boots. That's my favorite kind of boots. So we're going to look for boots. Um, do we have any 6 stars? Oh, we do. Okay, I totally want to upgrade these. So we'll take these to 8. These will actually be very powerful boots for someone at some point because they're accuracy. So that's going to give us 40 accuracy as long as I could pair it with anything there. So we want to do some dungeons. And we want to do a lot of Minotaur. And that's basically all we can do. In the challenges, we do have dungeon challenges remaining. No, we don't. We've completed the dungeon challenges. We have artifact challenges remaining. This would probably be easy enough to achieve, come to think of it. We're almost there now. But I'm not going to worry too much about this because this is... Oh, we're only at part 8 of 10, eh? How deep into the video are we? Oh, it's 50 minutes. Time really flies when I'm just chatting with you guys. And by chatting, I mean you're just sitting there listening to me, or maybe you're skipping ahead. That's okay. I understand. I do that even with shorter videos, honestly. If I'm to be perfectly honest, I will skip around in almost any video I watch, unless it's one of those videos where I know I have to watch it the full way through. But this is not one of those videos. I'll level with you guys right now. It's not one of those. This is one where you can just sort of drop by. Hello. You just sort of drop by, you know. We chat. We see where the account's at. I'll do an update of where the account's at tomorrow. Hopefully we'll have a bunch of updates. Let's just see what the chests are. And we'll pay attention this time. So from normal, we're getting a 4-star chest and a 4-star helmet. I'm not even going to bother looking at the stats. Really, I want to see better than 4-star stuff, but this is what happened. Okay, we'll look at one of the stats. Yeah, I mean, I'm probably not going to build those. So I'm going to hold off on hard. I'm just going to run normal. Because we can 1-key this. It's instantaneous. We get instantaneous gratification from this. Well, almost. So here we go. Close to 14 mil. That's a pretty good result. And I exited too fast. I wanted to compare Xeno to Kale again, but the real comparison is going to come when Xeno's really fully maxed out. That will come with time. I want to get Xeno an accuracy banner, and come to think of it, I want to get Kale an accuracy banner. And I still don't have one for him either. I've got a little bit of extra speed if I wanted to speed him up, but honestly, this is kind of not the point. I need to get his accuracy up by a lot. So we could farm Spider looking for that. The challenges that we have today, not the challenge, it's the pass. It's got to be artifacts. So in fact, looking for epics, legendaries, or mythicals, and we're not going to be finding mythicals. Spider doesn't count. This is something that kind of bums me out because Spider is usually, particularly on my endgame account, that's my favorite one to run. If I have extra energy, I'm running Spider. I don't want to run one of the other 3 dungeons just to complete this. Like Plarium, come on, just include Spider. Include accessories. Why does it have to be artifacts? Artifacts are not accessories. So this is a PSA, people. Artifacts are not accessories. So you might farm Spider like 10 times and be like, I got a bunch of epics. What's going on? Why am I not clearing the event? It's because you need artifacts. But anyway, I am going to run Minotaur for the remainder of the day. That's basically all that's going to happen. I could try running Shield Guard back in the team, but I'd be taking out somebody like Jamarsa? I don't know. We could even try running a few fewer. But I feel like if I don't run Tagore and Jamarsa together, they don't manage to keep one another alive. And I have tried running these 3 before on their own. They don't make it. I've cranked up their gear a bit. Just for fun. Let's see what happens if I run these 4 with the changes to gear. This will be an experiment that I will run expecting it to fail. And I'm not going to try to take over and have them focus on the facelesses, these two guys on the ends, even though they are obviously the two most dangerous ones. Because the test has to be, can this run on full auto? Because I'm not going to sit here and manual this stuff. This is going to be, it's got to be full auto or nothing. The only time I will ever manual a stage is if I only need to get through it once. Even Hydra, I cannot stand manualing Hydra. I can't stand it. It's awful. It takes forever. I'm going to auto Hydra. If that means I only get half the damage I would normally would on Hydra, so be it. So we're getting the Minotaur with 3 of our champions. That's not a great sign, but it's not a terrible sign. But basically, if they can do it with 4, then it makes it a little bit likelier that we get the scrolls on the right champions, which could make life a little bit faster. I'd love it if I could 2-man with Kale and someone else. And if I could just 2-man with Kale and Sun Wukong, perfect. Or 2-man with Kale and Zeno, perfect. But I don't know. But it looks like if we can get to the boss and then isolate him, I bet they can all survive at this point. Because she can get Leech on the boss. First time she gets knocked out, she basically gets to come back right away. And she's fast enough that she might be able to get a reset on that ability every time she's knocked out. And Sun Wukong is the one guy that can get knocked out for free. Like, that's fine. He's just going to get himself back up. I think this might work. So what I might do is run this one on auto, but just tell the game to stop if we ever lose. Because if we ever lose, that's a sign that we'll lose often enough, and I won't want to do that. The downside, though, is I do still want to get the masteries for Tagore and Jamarsa. So, I don't know. We'll run this one more time. I just want to watch this one more time. But basically, I'm gonna call it a day because I think it's been an hour already. It's been damn near an hour. We're about 3 minutes out. So this will be the final run. Well, then I'm gonna bid you guys farewell. I'm gonna go make myself some breakfast, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. But so let's see how we're doing. We haven't lost anybody yet. I would yeah, you know, I'm going to poke around the account as well. I'm going to see if I can find a little more silver by selling off excess stuff that I have to be honest, I'm not going to get around to building. And I might be able to get enough silver to upgrade the gear of these 4. These could be the 4 that get the 16, the level 16 equipment treatment to get us through the missions. Because we do need 4 champions with that. It could be these 4. Shield Guard's actually staying alive this time. I like that. So if I could keep all 4 of these guys alive, like these 2 have lifesteal, so that's pretty good. She's got her passive, which means if she gets knocked out, she just gets to get back up. Anyway, we lost Shield Guard again. I think if we crank up his defense, he should be good. He'll do more damage too. So Zeno's very low, and that makes me uncomfortable, but I'm trying to figure out if we've seen her passive kick in yet. I really like her passive, too. I mean, she's got the passive that keeps her from dying. Like right there. We saw it happen there. But also, it cranks up her damage when she's at 50% health or lower. She also places Leech, and you can also give her the Life Harvest Mastery. It's a level 3 mastery that can steal back some health as well. And it creates kind of a tug of war where you're doing more damage the lower your health gets, but you can gain some of that health back, and that might decrease your damage a little bit, but she's basically just keeping herself alive the whole time. And that's what's really important. But anyway, thanks for joining me on my journey today, as usual. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you on the next video.